Hello and welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Why do we do this on a Friday night? Fans, you know why we do it on a Friday night? Because Friday night is horror night. But as you can see, that's not the King, that's not the Dynamo, or that's not Tombstone Ted. This is director and co-founder of Horror Dadz production. This is Joshua Brucker. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to come on.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. I love it.
This has been a while in the works, this one.
Yeah, yeah. It sometimes, us being horror dads, we have busy schedules on top of making movies. We still work our jobs and tend to family. So stepping away sometimes can be kind of difficult, but it's rewarding when we finally get the chance to.
Absolutely, and I do appreciate you taking the time out of your afternoon to come on. Obviously, you're over in the States, so it's a bit earlier for you than it is here. But
It is.
sure,
Yeah,
that's part of podcasting life.
yeah. Nice.
um, Obviously, as it says, you're a co-founder of Horror Dadz. We obviously had Dylan on the show there a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and I keep meaning to try and line up with Hunter as well somewhere along the way. But I just went back before you jumped on the call there to the original message that I sent to the actual Facebook page. It
Yeah.
was September 22. That's how long I've been trying to line up these episodes. So that tells you everything. I'm persistent to say the least.
You are. Yeah, and we appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Um, it's well worth it though. Well worth it.
Yeah.
So as it says, tell us a little bit about Horror Dads and how you got started with that.
Yeah. So like I was new to filmmaking, so I met Dylan Brown, I think through like one of the few found footage movie film groups, and he happened to be a filmmaker that was kind of sharing a lot of his content, and he made himself, kind of available to anybody who really wants to make a movie. And at the time, I wanted to make a found footage movie. I felt like it was fairly reasonable for the time that I had and everything like that because I had actually been recently laid off due to COVID. So I had some time on my hands, and I thought, you know what, I've always wanted to make a movie, and so I did. I wrote a script, and Dylan kind of helped me with some pointers, and we stayed in contact. And then, I shot Mothman um, back
What a
in
movie.
2022, and Dylan was in contact with me throughout the whole thing, and we were kind of started to call ourselves horror dads at that point. But I think when we brought on Hunter after I worked with him on the set of Mothman, and we also brought in Michael Rock, that works with Dylan quite a bit. It felt more like a cohesive group. So it's Horror Dadz Productions. We're more of a think tank than anything else. We help each other out. We help other people out. Um, Try to get their films, past the idea stage, right? Dustin Tamlin being one of them. He's a good friend of ours, and we're all actually working on something for him too. He's got a
Oh,
TV
nice.
series, but he's working on a found footage. I wouldn't call it television, so it could be on television, but it's in that kind of format. It's an episodic. Um,
Like a web series.
yeah, yeah, I would say, yeah, web series is probably a better way to put it.
Oh,
So
nice.
we're all directing a segment for that, and I feel like I'm trailing here, but yeah, Horror Dads is just basically a group of dudes who are raising kids, working jobs, and trying to chase after the filmmaking dream, I guess.
I mean, it's a good a way as any. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You got to get started somewhere. Um, and like I've seen. Obviously, Dylan sent me Tahoe Joe to watch. Loved that. I was obviously in contact with yourself, and you sent. Sorry, excuse me, Mothman
Hmm.
and the Woodman. But we'll move on to the Woodman in a minute. But you mentioned Mothman there. Stars my boy Cheney Morrow in there.
Yep.
What a man! What a man! There was a few actually in that when I was watching it. I didn't know were in it. You have Daniel John Carney.
Hmm.
He's a good friend of the show. With a legend. Angel Bradford.
Yep. She's in it too. Yep.
Yeah, they're in the same scene. I was
I think
sitting
she
there and I
does.
was watching it, and I sent them the picture. I was like, "Is that you?" And they're like, "Yep." Um, but I think Mothman overall, obviously, I quite over in Ireland we don't have any of the cryptid things.
Yeah,
Well, we do. We have folklore, banshee, and things like that.
yeah,
But the cryptid one, the Mothman, was always one that never really piqued my interest. Like I remember watching the Richard Gere movie years
yeah,
ago,
yeah,
and it was kind of Hollywood horrified, where it was just there, and I was like, yeah, I don't really care about that.
yeah.
Um, but the way you done it was a lot different. It was a lot darker,
Hmm.
um, and less is more in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's
Um,
always like a very telling aspect of an indie film, right? Because we have ideas of doing big things and stuff like that. We had big ideas for certain things, but sometimes the reality of situations hits you on set. And I think what ended up coming out, what ended up being the final product, actually is probably a lot better than kind of what I had previously devised. I imagined more of a bigger presence of an actual creature, but I think my actors did a great job of portraying that doom and gloom that I wanted, kind of throughout the whole movie itself. And I think that helped the movie a lot more than just having a monster in it. You know what I mean?
I will say after the first sort of 10 minutes, there was no happiness in that movie.
No, yeah,
It was dark and dull, and you just felt miserable for them.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the way it should be in a horror movie. Obviously, you get the likes of the Americanized ones. I say that because most horror films probably come from the States anyway, where you see them, they're all out at parties in the middle of a massacre and stuff. You're like,
yeah,
that shit just doesn't happen really.
yeah,
Where this is obviously based around two people going out in search of somebody. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I really enjoyed it. It was great script writing. Really dark, as it says, unnice. It's great English there. Yeah, just
yeah.
not a very nice atmosphere around. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that one slipped through the realms, because obviously I watch a lot of indie movies.
Hmm.
And I don't know how that one slipped through, because that definitely would have been something that I would have picked up on.
I will
But
say that as a filmmaker, I'm not always the best marketing person, to be honest.
I
Because
will.
being the idea guy and being a creator and stuff like that, I make Mothman and I give like an initial push, right? But once Mothman finally came out and um, it was available for streaming everywhere. I was already 7 months out from not having made anything else. So like my brain's already like in let's go mode for the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, even if you push that to high holy heaven over in the states, we still don't get it. We don't get it much indie over here anyway.
Yeah. No, I
Like
hear that.
Terrifier was the last indie movie, obviously because it blew up.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I can't remember the last indie movie that broke over here. And I'm like, there's a lot of love for indie movies, and okay, streaming platforms are great, and VPNs are great when you can get them to use sites.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you don't want to illegally stream stuff that takes away from filmmakers and stuff.
Right.
Um, but sometimes it's just near impossible for people over this side to get indie movies without getting a screener or something.
Yeah. No, that's that I know a handful of people I've actually given screeners to that are overseas because I don't really know of any really good ways of doing it myself rather than going through the self distribution channels, and even then you're kind of at mercy. But so one thing about Woodman though too that we've got coming up, and Mothman also is already streaming on um, YouTube on Indie Rights YouTube channel, so that should be worldwide.
Yeah. So it was you that told me that it was on YouTube, and
Yeah,
I went and I found it then.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Sometime in April, uh, Woodman's gonna hit as well through Kings of Horror, if you're familiar
no.
with their channel.
it might be one of the millions and millions of ones that I'm subscribed to somewhere along the way. Obviously, I've seen you gave me a screener to the Woodman,
Yeah,
uh, and it was fucking awesome.
good. I'm glad.
Obviously, a couple of friends of the show again in there as well. Obviously, Anna and Dan, LC.
Oh yeah,
Um, it's just wait, who else? I'm forgetting someone else in that. Crystal, Crystal was on the show.
she was.
Bryden was on the show.
Yep.
I'm pretty much just
Like I hadn't realized it until I put everybody together for the cast that like I kind of created a Mutilator 2 reunion with everybody.
you've got three. You've got Dan Grogan,
Yeah, I got
you've
three of
got
them.
Anna, and then you've got Bryden.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously I'd done a couple of shows with LC and a couple others. But I remember when I originally interviewed Anna.
Hmm.
So she was the first of the Mutilator 2 cast that I got. Now I'm a huge Mutilator fan. Original Mutilator. I'm like I have a Mutilator tattoo.
Oh,
And
that's great.
when I got through, started going through the cast, she was the first to come on, and she just finished Mutilator 2, and they were about to go to do Woodman not long after that,
Hmm.
and that's how long I've been waiting for that. I was like, yes, here we go. And then I seen Dan get cast, and I was like, oh. And then Bryden was like, I'm in it as well, and I'm like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah,
And
actually, the interesting thing about Bryden is that which is kind of a thing that kind of people have um, brought to my attention as being kind of nitpicky in that why is his hair short, right? If they're supposed to play Woodman for the audience that's listening, Bryden plays one of our feral humans, right?
it's a
So,
great word, that feral.
so I was like, actually, that role was actually written for a female,
Oh,
and then I had a casting issue, and Dan actually helped me out in suggesting Bryden. So he kind of saved everything there for the most part. And I was like, "Can you grow a beard at least?" He was like, "Yes." And this is
shout out
fun.
to Bryden there, saving the show.
Today, he texted me about I don't know about a month until we're about to film. He was like, "Hey, can I shave my face a little bit?" And I'm like, we have a month. How fast does your hair grow? He's like, really fast. I'm like, okay, dude, you're fine. Go ahead. We're gonna be fine. We're just gonna make a movie,
I said that once. I said my hair grows back quite quick.
dude.
You could have cast me in it.
I could have.
I don't know how you'd explain the bald head, but
It's bad genes.
too much sun.
Too much sun,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I will say I really enjoyed it. There's a Hunter's in there as well, isn't he?
Yes, Hunter's
Yeah,
one of the leads. Yeah, he plays Ben
yeah,
Logan. Yep,
yeah. That's the one. Yeah, he was the cop outside,
yep.
or he was the tryout, the guide, the cop guide thing,
Yeah, like
whatever you call it, the ranger.
the Ranger. Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and actually, what's kind of cool in that Hunter has actually played Ben Logan in about three movies now, maybe
Oh,
four. Yeah, well, four now, I guess, if you want to count Tahoe Joe too, because he does have once the credits roll, there's a setup for Woodman too there.
no, I should have watched after the credits.
Yeah.
Fuck's
um,
sake, I'll have to go and check it out again.
yeah. Yep. Um,
Um,
but yeah,
I,
he's kind of like the showrunner for our cryptid verse here. He's like the connective thread that we created for all of our
he's a
movies.
he's, he's a good guy as well. I spoke to him a fair few times.
Yeah.
I haven't actually had a chance to get him on the show. We've been meaning to and lined it up a couple of times. And
Yeah.
in the words of the great Jeff Goldblum, life finds a way to fuck it up. Um, but no, with Woodman now, when I was watching it, obviously I'd seen some of the casting go up when you were sharing it around, and I'm in the Facebook page, and then all of a sudden I'm watching it, and the two girls from Scream
Yeah.
popped up. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Uh, is it Nancy Ann Ritter and Leona? I'm not even going to attempt their second name.
Elfo.
That's the one. What he
Skelfo, yeah.
said.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, people would know them from being the two girls in the bathroom in Scream One.
Yeah. Yep, they are.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were really
yeah,
cool to work with. It was fun to have them on set while they were there, and they have stories to tell. That's for sure. And
yeah.
they're super awesome to talk to. Um, they brought a lot of life to the set. That's for sure.
I'd say they're bubbly, all right.
Oh yeah.
um, but I tell you, when I got to actually sit down and watch Woodman, so I'd only moved into my new apartment at the time, right? So I had it. I hooked my phone up to the TV, and I'd no sofa, so I was sitting on the ground with a like we had bags of clothes that we were unpacking, and I used that as a cushion against the wall, and I was sitting there in the most uncomfortable way to watch it. So that's how committed I was to watching it.
I appreciate that. That takes some
Um,
movement. It does.
yeah, but no, I will say I really enjoyed Woodman. I'd go as far as saying I enjoyed Woodman more than I enjoyed Mothman,
Yeah,
and
that's okay. I
Moth,
like I
Moth
like Wood more than Mothman. So
um, but like I really enjoyed Mothman. I told the lads to go and watch it and stuff. And as I told you off screen there, that I've been hyping up Woodman in a
mhm.
couple of the groups that we're in and stuff. So
Yeah, that's
once it
cool.
hits out, you'll see a fair few spikes going up, I'd say.
Good deal. I appreciate that.
Um, but was there any major challenges making those movies?
No, well, Mothman was just a challenge altogether because I had never made a movie before. And all of a sudden, I found myself kind of running a set of, at the most, probably about 25 people on set. So that was it was daunting. I would say it was daunting to, to kind of tackle that, having never done it before. But the great thing about being a director is you get to hire a lot of people who can help you. And I had a
Fair.
great team. And we ran into, I think on set, probably the biggest hurdle was the fact that I had to fire somebody on set after they
You
had
had to
been there.
fire people?
Yeah, I had to fire one guy, and
Yes.
he was a cast member, and
Oh,
I was like, cool. And his scene was like the next day, so we all kind of got together and brainstormed some changes and moved some characters around, and someone kind of stepped up and took that role. Xander
was it
Gold.
LC?
No.
That character was brilliant.
Yeah.
Who did you say stepped in?
So we moved some characters around. The gentleman that played that was actually going to be sort of the creature costume kind of dude. Bradford Norris, he stepped in and he was the cop that they interviewed on the porch, and then the cop that took them out to the forest and stuff like that. And then Xander ended up playing sort of like that cryptid expert that Dakota visits at his house. So we moved some characters around. Bradford Norris came in and did some acting, so it was good. I think it turned out okay.
Thinking on your feet there.
Yeah, yeah, that would be about the biggest hurdle. That and cell phone reception out in the middle of nowhere is garbage.
I'd say so. I
Yeah,
would. I would say so.
we
Um,
had to have somebody make a Walmart run and pick up walkie talkies for us so that we could actually communicate with each other.
I'll tell you what. Next movie, you can fly me in, and I'll fire whoever you want.
That's fine
Yeah,
in my
just
muscle.
as long as it's not me getting fired.
The last
Imagine
thing.
having fire yourself. Greg, you're a dickhead. Get out.
Yeah. Goodbye, Toodles.
Um, no, but like as I says, the two movies were very very good and very enjoyable. Certainly watching them again at some stage. Um, but what's new or what's next on the hit list for you?
Well, Dylan and I did put together Split Screen. That's available on YouTube to watch. The Kings of Horror distributed that for us, and
Interesting.
it's going to be popping up on Tubi here soon too. I don't know what kind of reach Tubi has overseas,
Not
but
good.
that's what I've heard. Um, but we've got that. So Dylan filmed a segment. This split screen is actually kind of cool because it's, as far as we could tell, and from our research, Dylan and I put together the very first found footage double feature movie, where the entire runtime is about an hour and 30 minutes. So each of our movies are about 45 minutes long. So split screen's got two movies in it essentially.
Interesting.
Yep, and that's been received well by people who've watched it so far.
I
Um,
will. I will certainly give it a watch, and I will let you know.
yeah, definitely. Dylan's
Yeah.
segment was about, now it's in the same universe as Tahoe Joe and Woodman and Mothman, and so is my segment in there. And my segment is called the Illinois Valley Murder Tapes. So it's about two podcasters who receive some snuff films, and they try to investigate whether or not those are tied to a string of disappearances in Illinois, where I live.
Oh,
Um,
that's that be CM Punk country.
yeah,
Yeah. Um. Interesting.
yeah.
So
Dylan's is
very.
about aliens, so that one's pretty cool. I like aliens a lot. So
Dylan's one's about what?
aliens,
I do like aliens. I
yeah,
do like aliens.
yeah.
So, where do you stand on the cryptid idea? Real, fake?
I want them to be real. I don't know if they're
Yes.
real. I need to see one, man. But
So does everybody.
I know. I think I like the idea of Bigfoot, so I would just love to experience something, and it's kind of the same thing with paranormal as well, um, in that I kind of yearn to be an observer of some type of experience, right? Like I've never shied away from anything. I live in a house right now that I was built in 1902, and they used to embalm people in the basement. And
Shit.
I have talked to locals because I didn't grow up in this town where I live now, but there are people who are familiar with the town and with this house particularly, right? Now they said that when they were kids, they used to always feel as though it was haunted. I have not had a single paranormal experience, at least as far as I could tell. But I've been waiting patiently. It's been almost 5 years.
Yeah, that's never a good
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But maybe there is stuff happening and you're just not aware of it.
yeah. That's true. I'm probably too skeptical. I need to, you know, open
I
my eyes
I
a little
I
wider.
used to be like that.
Yeah.
I used to be like that. Not so much anymore.
No, but
Um,
as far as Mothman goes, I kind of wanted to tackle that because I've always found it to be frightening, if that makes sense. Like the idea that there is this being that I would interpret, which is why I kind of took that path in that movie, interpret as being, multidimensional maybe, or something that can exist in a plane outside of ours, because he's a harbinger of doom by, his moniker is harbinger of doom. So he kind of
yeah,
shows up when terrible things are going to happen, right? And that's why I kind of played with that idea is that what if, I mean, he's supposed to, he exists 1 minute and then he doesn't exist another, right? When you're just kind of observing him. And that's been kind of the thing, right? But people get chased by him and then he's gone all of a sudden. Um, and then obviously the bridge collapse there in Point Pleasant. People saw him leading up to that. Um, and it
that
was
was the true
actually,
story, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, it was. That
Yeah.
bridge collapsed. I think somewhere around 50 people passed away as a result of it.
Jesus.
But uh, it was actually the first cryptid that I actually kind of learned about when I was a kid. And I think Bigfoot probably the first, but I think Mothman was the first one that I actually like read about because I I got this here in the states, in the state of New Jersey. There's this magazine that's popular amongst locals called Weird New Jersey. So it's got like lots of urban legends and tales and stuff like that. And I think for a while it was either a quarterly or a biannually publication. So you used to be able to buy it in the store off the shelves at like Barnes and Noble. But then they made a book, like a big ass book, called Weird USA. And my stepmom at the time, she was from New Jersey. She was familiar with this magazine, so she knew that I liked kind of weird, freaky shit when I was a kid. So she ended up picking this book up for me. And one of the first stories from, because it kind of maps it out in this big thing. So there's like over 50 stories. They pull a story from every state. And West Virginia has the Mothman. So, that kind of something that always stuck with me. And I could never shake it. And I did like the Richard Gere movie when I was a kid. Um, but, it's not really a horror movie per se.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just there, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and I really didn't feel like they did a decent job. There's been other Mothman movies that have been made. Um, Not like the biggest fan, so I kind of wanted to take a stab at it. And me and my family actually took a trip, probably back in 2020. I think it was 2020. I think it was 2021. It's been some years, but we actually traveled to Point Pleasant, so we got to visit the Mothman Museum there, and we visited the statue and got to learn a lot about that town. And I think that was the first thing that popped in my head when I decided that I was going to make a found footage movie. I was like, it's going to be a Mothman movie because I love it. I haven't, you know, seen anything that I think is particularly very well done as far as Mothman goes, especially in the found footage genre. Um, it's fresh in my mind having just been there, and kind of went with it. You know.
I mean, why not? You see an idea, you see an opportunity, you might as well take it. Um, Now, the one thing I will say is, out of all the cryptids that I've come to know throughout my time here and with podcasting and stuff, and looking into
Yeah.
stuff more, the Dog Man is the real one.
You can
That's
talk to
probably my
you
favorite.
can talk to Hunter about Dogman because he'll that's his cryptid.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he loves Dogman.
Yeah. Um, like I think Bigfoot's probably the most Hollywood used and
Yeah,
whatnot. Obviously, the Patterson Gimlin tape.
yeah.
Um, what's your take on it? Real, fake?
I want it to be real. I don't know. I've seen convincing things on both sides. I don't know how many documentaries with Jeff Meldrum I've watched, where they like break down the locomotion of a was it Lucy? They call her Lucy because
Paddy?
Patty, yes, Patty, and she's got tits, so there's that.
She's got them big old bitties though.
So like I don't know, like it could be real. Like I want to say that like I know the stories that surround um, the two of them guys. Um, One of them not being so illustrious, I guess would be a good word to put. And the
I
fact
don't know
that
that
they were,
myself.
I mean, and the fact that they were going out to shoot a Bigfoot fake documentary kind of thing,
And then
um,
find one.
and then they found one. Wow, that's the plot of every fucking Bigfoot movie, right?
Apart from Harry and the Hendersons.
That's true. He didn't want to find that one.
No. It's like finding remember in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation when the cousin comes.
Oh yeah, it's
He, he's like that cousin that just comes and wrecks everything.
cousin Eddie.
Yeah. Um no, I've seen the original tape obviously over and over again. Obviously it's on YouTube and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Um I think it's too good to be fully fake, but
yeah,
if it is fully fake, they deserve an Oscar because that's arguably, apart from maybe the Blair Witch, it's the greatest propaganda movie you'll ever see in your life.
Oh yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, if they did pull that off and it was fake, then it is a damn good one, and it still has people guessing today. So
Yeah, even experts that break the video down, like I've
yeah,
seen a couple of shows and stuff, and like no one ever definitively says it's a fake
right. They just can't tell.
because there's too many different reasons as to why it is or why it isn't.
Yeah,
Um, but obviously, only a couple of people will know if it's real or not, and I don't think we're going to get an answer from them.
I think one of them's dead and the other one's close.
Yeah, as I said, I don't think you're going to get one unless if it is fake and you have someone that played the Sasquatch. They might, but
Yeah,
um,
and that's the
yeah.
thing too is other people have come forward and claimed that, but a lot of the stuff that they say can be refuted too. So you don't really know. It leaves
I
everything
mean, for me, the whole thing of before the internet, everyone was obviously seeing these things in certain parts of the country
right.
that wouldn't be able to tell other people what they look like, but everyone describes them the same.
Yeah, interesting.
It's things like that. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like, how can someone in the East Coast tell someone in the West Coast theoretically that
yeah.
don't know each other?
They would have no means of communication.
Yeah, but sure, look, someone will find one day if it's real, and if not, it's the greatest hoax someone's ever pulled.
It is,
And
but it's an
and as long
entertaining
as
one, and I
and
love it.
as long as horror dads keep making money off it, I'm gonna keep watching.
That's fine with us.
Yeah. Just before we finish up, then Joshua, um, obviously you're saying that you have a bit coming out now with Dylan.
Yep, that's out, and I'm actually in pre-production right now, and I'll be shooting in May. Actually, a sequel to my segment in Split Screen.
Oh,
So, yep. So I'm gonna explore that universe a little bit more. There was. Uh, I felt like I could have done more with it, to be honest with you. Um, didn't have a lot of time to really get it nailed down fully, but that is one thing. My segments that people have said is that they wish that there was more. So I wish there's more. The audience wishes there's more. I'm gonna give them more. So
yes, sir. I can't say anything because I haven't seen it.
that's
I'd be
okay.
lying if I said I want more right now because obviously I haven't seen it.
Hmm.
Um, but I'll certainly give it a watch, and then you'll either get a message being like, "I don't want more," or
It's fine.
"Let's go." um, but then let me throw something to you. Then obviously you've done Mothman, you've done Woodman. Is there any movies, obviously apart from the likes of Blair Witch, that inspired those movies?
Well, Woodman is heavily inspired by a series of books and a series of documentaries called Missing 411.
Never
If
heard
you're
of it.
familiar with those.
Never heard of it.
No, yeah, you can check them out. You should. They actually, just an idea of, I mean, it's a posited by a gentleman named David Paulides, who actually I modeled Dan's character after, and even down to the goatee and the look and everything like that too. So David Paulides is a former police officer. So one thing that he's always been interested in are missing person cases in national forests here in the United States.
Which happened quite regularly.
They do, in fact. So much so that he thinks that there might be something to it. And he's put together a series of books that kind of outline this list that he has. And it'd be hard for me to pull them, all directly out of my ass. But like they have to happen in a national park. They happen near bodies of water, and there's just a whole list. And there's you know a metric ton of cases that involve either people who've never been found or people who have been found and found in places that they shouldn't have been, like children and things like that. I think one case involved a toddler that ran off ahead of his parents and was never seen again. until a few years later when they found his skeleton up a ridge about 60 feet in the air, where his clothes were untouched, his, you know, showed no signs of predation. It didn't look like he was attacked by an animal because, if somebody's up a ridge, you're going to think maybe an animal drug him up there.
That's what I
Um,
would have said, a bear or a coyote or a
yeah.
mountain lion or something.
Yeah. But the clothes that they found were relatively untouched, other than, naturally being aged by the elements. But they're also turned inside out. So
Yeah, an
that's
animal not gonna do that.
yeah, yeah. There's three documentaries that are out. The second one
What'd you say it
follows.
was called? Missing 411.
Yes, missing 411, and that's kind of the creepy things I watch on YouTube and stuff. I follow a couple of those channels that regularly highlight missing person cases that are strange and have interesting aspects to them. And that was one, and that's an idea too that some people posit, is that our national forests, you know, they're vast, they're relatively untouched, they're mapped, but not every square inch, right? So, like, if there
Yeah.
was a collection of feral humans that exist, that these national parks would be a safe haven for them, because, I mean, while some areas get a lot of traffic, a lot of the bigger areas remain kind of, untouched, like I said. So,
I mean, the quote there that comes to mind was, I don't know whether you've ever seen Anaconda 2, The
yeah,
Hunt for the Blood Orchid. It's a
yeah,
jungle. It's all green all the time. Obviously, it's a forest, but it's all green all the time.
yeah,
It's dense, and I mean, I was only thinking about it now. I was only reading a story. No, I'm not into missing persons cases, but I was reading a story of a lady that went on the Appalachian Trail, and she was meeting her husband every so often to get more supplies, and she went off the trail to go to the bathroom, and they found her 2 years later on a
yeah,
navy base part. And I was like, Jesus. Apparently, she was only something like 500 feet away from the trail line,
yeah,
but 2 years later, they found the tent.
yeah, yeah.
That's I.
It's kind of an interesting thing, isn't
I mean, you're not going to get me going into a forest.
it? Yeah,
No,
we came pretty close to. I had to scare a bear off on set, so that was fun.
nope, nope.
Yeah,
I've seen bears. They're fucking terrifying.
yeah. Well, and black bears are like big dumb dogs. So
Still wouldn't like to pick a fight with one.
everybody's sitting in the movie room while we're back at the lodge, and I'm sitting in the kitchen by myself, and I hear this like crash, and I was like, "We have a bear." Because we didn't lock the damn garbage cans. Because in bear country, you've got garbage cans that lock a certain way so they can't rip them open.
Yeah,
So I go outside, and I think Bailey and Tyler is cinematographer, and Bailey, one of the assistant directors, she came out, and they watched me scare this thing off. I'm like throwing my hands in the air and screaming at it, and it's like looking at me all weird, and then eventually it kind of like walks off. And then I called for Hunter because I want Hunter to come help me with the garbage cans. And I go back outside, and it's like standing around the corner of the garage there, just waiting for me to go back inside. So I had to scare it off more, get it to run off into the woods, and then Hunter comes out and he's like, "Where's the bear?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I thought you wanted me to fight a bear." I'm like, "No, I want you to help me pick these garbage cans up."
I thought you wanted me to fight a bear. Fuck it, I'll fight a bear.
It's already gone, man. You don't have to worry about that.
Speaking of bears, have you ever seen the movie Backcountry?
Yes, I just watched it actually for the first
So
time.
good,
Oh, I like it. It was a good one.
so good,
I kept
so
having
good.
for like years people recommended it to me, and I think I was flipping through Tubi, and I was like, "Son of a bitch! All right, I guess I'll watch it." But yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
I
good.
I watch a lot of nature documentaries, and I remember watching. I think it was I was attacked or I survived or one of them,
Yeah.
whatever it was called, and it told the story of those two. Now, the true story is a bit different to what the movie done. Um, he survives in real life,
Yeah.
but obviously having him survive in the movie wasn't exactly,
Cinematic.
uh, yeah. But I remember reading it, and then it popped up on. I just watched The Edge
That's a good one too.
as a cracking movie, and then that popped up, and I was like, ooh, another bear movie. As I'm a fucker for watching creature features.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's my favorite type of horror.
Yeah. Have you watched
Um,
Into the Grizzly Maze?
no,
You need to watch that one.
Into the Grizzly Maze. Let me just
It's actually got uh, James Marsden in it. It's got
Spike.
yeah, it's got Thomas Jane in it. It's got Billy Bob Thornton in it.
I'm all in.
Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton actually plays this this bear hunter, so it's actually kind of his role is actually kind of cool. I really like it.
Into the Grizzly Maze. But yeah, it popped up for me, and I was like, so I'm sitting watching it, and I'm like, halfway through the thing, I was like, are they just ripping off that episode that I seen? So I looked more into it,
Yeah,
and it was legit. Then I was like, oh shit! But then I got really annoyed with it because obviously it changed from
yeah,
the actual story. As I suppose having him survive wouldn't exactly make it fun.
yeah.
But so I'll tell you what. Before we finish up for the second time, give me your top 10 horror movies.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Holy
Don't make it
shit!
difficult. Normally I go five, but now go on. I'll tell you what. I'll give you five. Go five.
All right, five. Oh, okay. So Critters. This is in no particular order either.
Love Critters.
I love Critters. I grew up with. I love Tremors.
Yes. Love Tremors. Egg
Yeah.
Shen.
Yep. I'm obviously gonna have to go with Blair Witch because that was a defining moment for me as a kid when I
Yeah.
watched that. Um, I think one thing my dad and I bonded over as a child was The Thing. It's number
Oh, what a
four.
movie.
And number five, I think Scream, because Scream introduced the slasher genre to me when I was young.
I mean,
So,
it's a
which
good
is
five.
actually kind of cool that I got to involve, two actresses from that movie in Woodman. So that was a
It's
neat
a
thing.
it's a good five. Tombstone Ted would be very happy with you there. Scream's his franchise.
Yeah,
It's funny because there's four of us that do this show, and all four of us have different franchises.
yeah. I would
I
say that I think overarching, or like if you want to look at the entirety of this like the Scream franchise as far as the killers go, it's kind of up and down. It's not always the greatest. You know what I mean?
the
If you want
movies themselves
to,
are pretty good though.
the movies themselves are good. Yes. Um, so that's why I mean Scream. Like I told you, I think one time, like I think I rented it. Like in my brain, this is how I'm imagining or how I remember it. Is the first time watching it. I used to stay the night at my grandpa's house a lot, and he used to let me watch all types of shit my parents would never let me watch. Because back in the early '90s, the big thing was Tales of the Crypt,
Oh yeah, love the
and
Crypt
he
Keeper.
and he had HBO and he had boxes of cassettes because they recorded every episode of Tales of the Crypt on VHS. So I'd watch those all the time. But he would take me over to the um, like the video rental store, and I could pick out a movie that I could watch for the night. He'd always do that for me. And one of the movies that I picked out was like Scream, and he's like, "You sure you should watch this?" And I'm like, "No, but let's do it." He was like, "All
Fuck
right."
it.
So we sat
Um,
and watched it together, and and his last name's Campbell, right? And
nice.
he's like, he's just fucking with me when I was a kid. He's like, that she's my wife, right? Nev there. I'm like, no, because at this point, my grandparents have already gotten a divorce. And he's like, yeah, I just let her go off and make movies, man. It's totally cool. She comes back every once in a while. I'm like,
Hey,
stop.
she comes back every once in a while, gives me some money, and leaves.
Like his sugar mama.
I have a funny story about Scream. So obviously, I've been a huge horror fan almost all my whole life. Seen Nightmare on Elm Street at 11.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good age.
Snuck down the stairs in my ma's house. Uh, Watched at 11 o'clock on a Friday night. It was a different channel than Channel 4, but
Oh yeah,
um, yeah, it was always two movies my parents told me I wasn't allowed to watch. It was Exorcist and Nightmare on Elm Street. Seen both
yeah,
of them before I was 12.
good.
But I've been watching horror films for years and years and years, and lockdown rolled around, and I decided I was going to sit and watch Scream. It was coming to the end of lockdown, and Scream 5 was getting ready to come out.
Yeah.
So I sat down to watch Scream, and I watched it, and I was like, "Yeah, I've never seen this before in my life. I hadn't seen it,
No, that's good.
or if I did, I completely blocked it out." Now, Scary Movie pretty much gave it away, but
Oh yeah, naturally.
um, yeah, I watched all four of them, and I was like, "Yeah, no, I haven't seen any of these, not one."
My parents
um,
ended up giving up. They stopped trying to stop me from watching that stuff. They're just like,
uh,
whatever, he'll be fine.
yeah, it's a
Enjoy
movie.
movies. Yeah, it's just a movie. I'm not. I didn't go out and kill anybody, so that's good.
Well, no, you just told people to do
Yeah. No, now I'm just capturing it on camera.
it. Like, for the record, it's entertainment purposes only.
Only entertainment.
It's not financial or anything. It's just entertainment.
Yeah, no, definitely not financial yet. So
Yeah. Um, but what we'll do is, Josh, we'll leave it there. I appreciate your time coming on tonight. And hopefully we'll
yeah,
have you back on. Maybe even if we get the whole lot of these together.
that'd be cool. Yeah, we did it once
Um,
before, so with
well,
another podcast, so we'll make it work.
were they in the States or were they international?
They're in the States.
Oh, then that's all right. Because there's about 1 million podcasts in the States. You'll be the first international.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be hella awesome.
We'll try and line that up. Hopefully, not another 2 years down the line, but. But as it says, once you have anything new, certainly send it on to us, and we'll pop it out for you.
Yeah, no problem. Sounds good, man.
And as it says, appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Appreciate the screeners, and we
yeah,
hope everything goes well for you in the future.
yeah. Thank you very much.
And folks, what we'll do is we'll leave this here on a Friday night, the same way I finish every single Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.